My name is Harvey Goldstein. I've been a practicing CPA in Southern California for a very long time. Had a great career. During the 1980s, I was appointed by President Reagan to his National Productivity Advisory Committee. The express purpose of that committee was to help increase the nation's productivity during the 1980 recession. If you recall, that recession was not very good. It was one of the deepest since the Depression of the 1920s. The president at that time felt it might be a good idea to help increase the nation's productivity. By doing that, it might be able to work its way out of the recession. At the same time, Congress was coming up with a whole bunch of new proposals in order to assist the small business people, because you know that they are the ones that create most of the jobs. Here we are 27 years later, and we're still dealing with the same Congress. Oh, some of those people are still sitting there in those committee meetings making the same issues and bringing up the same things. Today we've got this whole idea about coming up with a reduced capital gain for people in small business. Well, let me ask you a question. Would you invest in a small business for a reduced capital gain? First of all, the business has to be successful, number one. Number two is you've got to be able to sell that business for more than you put into it. That's number two. Number three is, how long is it going to take to do that? So what is the incentive if you've invested in a business and you have to wait years upon years in order to reap some kind of a tax incentive for going into that investment? In addition to that, the Congress and the President are now trying to talk about a jobs credit. Well, let's see, they want to give you a $5,000 jobs credit. However, just think of this. Where do you know that you can hire an employee for $5,000? Today's employees generally are going to get paid somewhere between $20,000 and $25,000. So you'll get a credit for $5,000. Where are you going to get the other $10,000 to $15,000 or $20,000 to pay that employee for the balance of the year? Doesn't make any sense. And the other issue is, are you going to hire employees even though maybe at this time you don't need them? Well, now they have $30 billion that they want to give to the banking industry so that the bankers will loan money to small business people. Does that make any sense? Well, let's see. I'm a banker and you walk in and you show me your financial statement. Well, I look at that financial statement and I say, isn't that interesting? Your sales are down 30%, your profits are down, everything is down. Why in God's name should I loan you any money? What a risk is that I'm not going to take? And besides, if I loan you the money and you lose, and I lose on that investment or that loan to you, I'm going to be criticized. So there's no chance in the world that I'm going to loan you any money at this time. So what are we going to do? Well, 27 years ago, while I was hopping around in Washington through my National Productivity Advisory Committee, I came upon an idea, an incentive for people at making a direct cash investment into a business. And actually in 1983, it was reduced. It was introduced in Congress by Congresswoman Bobby Fiedler, February 15th, 1983, 27 years ago. We introduced a bill that says let's give people a tax break and a tax deduction for a direct cash investment in a small business. 27 years ago, and today may be the time that it should pass, because it is a very, very worthwhile piece of legislation. Just look at it this way. If you have a business and some friends with some money, and they could use maybe a little tax shelter, if you will, and want a reduction in their income taxes, maybe you can get them to invest in your business. It's a great piece of legislation because it provides the incentive right up front. It allows the individuals who make that investment to take a tax deduction, and hopefully you'll have some money that you can expand your business, do some marketing, maybe hire some employees, and at least give yourself some opportunity to survive over the several months or maybe years that we're going to have these bad economic times. So the whole idea is not to provide an incentive after the fact, to provide an incentive up front so people will invest cash into those starving businesses, and that's my solution. Thank you. My tagline is this. That bill was introduced in 1983. It was called the Small Business Investment Incentive Act. If you'd like to take a look at it or get a copy of it, go to cashplan.com. That's CASHPLAN.com, and it'll be posted there. all the particulars regarding the Small Business Investment Incentive Act. By the way, in 1986, it was considered the number 11th most important issue for small businesses from the White House Conference on Small Business. Thanks.